Welcome back. This is the second half of our newspaper review. It's all about the rocky referendum road that seems to be taking shape even as we move forward. I have an able panel to go through that discussion. Charles Munyui, Madam Elachi in studio. We also have Justice Minor joining the conversation via Skype as well. And we're just looking at the big issue right now from yesterday's meeting of ODM and its MCAs right across the country, and the list and raft of demands that they had that even is overshadowing the contents of this particular document. Justice, let me come to you very quickly, even as you move forward on this. Do you believe it's a case of, previous promises that are now being delivered? We knew that we should have given these guys what they've been asking for, and this is the time. Or are these new goodies just to make sure that we get the threshold needed to move this particular document forward?
Well, Chef, I believe this is almost a very ungodly and unholy conversation amidst the pandemic. And we want to confer benefits to elected leaders, more benefits. Remember, Chef, it is in fact unconstitutional for even the president to suggest that he's got the mandate to confer the same benefits to the MCAs. Remember, that is an exclusive preserve of the SRC. And in the process of trying to say we want to change the constitution, we are actually undermining the very same constitution that we seek to amend in the name of BBI. So clearly, the president and Raila Odinga do not have the mandate, do not have the legal mandate to confer the very same benefits they seem to suggest to confer on the MCAs. Recently, Raila Odinga suggested to the medical doctors that they needed to exercise a lot of patience when it came to PPEs. PPEs is very critical. It's about saving the lives of the same doctors. It's about saving the lives of Kenyans. But Raila did mention to the doctors that they needed to be very patient and exercise a lot of patience. Yesterday, the same Raila who asked our medical fraternity staff to exercise patience was very quick to avail goodies to the MCAs. Look, this is very interesting times for this country, that the politicians seem to have their ways and the civil servants, including the doctors, seem to be in a mood of unrest because we've been singing pandemic, there are no resources because of a pandemic, but we seem to have money to 2 million per MCA to give them money. And secondly, remember, this can stir a lot of unrest in the country. Were this to go through, you can bet that it will stir social unrest. You will hear the doctors coming, you will hear the nurses coming, you will hear demands upon demands. Once, if the president and Raila Odinga were to bulldoze the SRC to confer these benefits upon the MCAs, you can bet, take this to the bank, it will stir a lot of unrest. It will trigger demands upon demands. I mean, we do not, amidst the pandemic, if we want to be fair to this country, it is not the right time to begin conversation on car grants to MCAs. Well, that conversation can be started in 2022, but not now. So I believe it's a wrong conversation. It's an ungodly conversation. I believe the president must himself make a statement on this. And remember, there are even politicians who are beginning to incite the Kenyans and say now, if the president were to accede to 2 million car grants, even the voters, if these were to go to referendum, the voters will now begin to demand for maybe wheelbarrows and motorbikes and the rest of the goodies. So I think this conversation, if I were the president, if I had word by the president and Raila Odinga, they should stop this conversation about car grants amidst the referendum. And finally, BBI seeks to fight corruption. I can tell you from where I sit, for the MCAs to vote for the BBI or 2010 constitutional amendment B, they need to be bribed with the car grants. In fact, this is actually, it is a paradox that in the process of seeking to fight graft, in the process of seeking to ensure that we do not have a bribery, we are bribing the MCAs. And remember, ultimately, our problem in this country is not constitutional, it's not legal, it is political, it is governance.
Charles, I'll come to you because it's the same question being asked, because even in this process taking place, as it goes to the counties, they have 3 months, to pass it or reject it. There's what we're talking about, the perception issue for the people who will actually take this and vote yes or no. And how do the co-principals deal with this particular process right now, with very many people saying, okay, fine, they want car grants, they want facilitation, for this as well. It almost feels like it's their document and not the people's right now with how things are going.
Those opposed to BBI, and let us confirm this, BBI report is being implemented as we speak because it's in 4 segments, and it's good to repeat every now and then. The aspect of policy is being implemented as we speak. Administrative issues being implemented. Legislative statutory issue being implemented, and the bills will be before Parliament, maybe sooner rather than later. The issue here is an amendment to the Constitution, as provided for in the bill, BBI Bill 2020. Now, the people who've been fighting BBI latch on everything. They latch on everything. They're the same ones who are telling MCAs this thing is not going to benefit you, this thing is not going to there is no resources, there is nothing. You hear people opposing BBI and saying we need to fight COVID. Yet BBI is talking about actually resources going to counties so that counties can have institutions and facilities so that they can be able to, they are better off, because health, Jeff, whether we like it or not, is almost fully devolved. And the reality is the doctors who are complaining are employed by county governments. The president the other day talked about Kenyatta National Hospital, Eldoret Referral Hospital, and Kenyatta University Hospital as the facilities where he has employed doctors. And he actually challenged media people to confirm with private facilities whether the amount of money paid to those doctors serving in those facilities does not work together with what he's paying his doctors. And I'm saying that without any apologies, because the reality is we run a devolved system of government where counties have functions, key functions, health being one of them. So when PBI proposes to empower, to entrench, to give resources to counties so that they can serve the people better, including the PPEs my brother is talking about, including paying the nurses better, because that's a reality. If they don't have the money, and it's not like the money is not there. The money is lying in the national government as we speak, in parastatals. It is lying there, being wasted, being stolen left, right, and center. That's a reality. If that money does not find its way in counties through a provision in the Constitution that cannot be, played games with by the national government, and I told you here the other time we're here, if the Constitution today provides for a minimum of 5% to go to counties, the national government will still struggle to give counties 5%. The next president of the Republic of Kenya would find it very hard to still give 5% to county government, because that's the way these things work. But the moment you provide a minimum through a provision in the Constitution, then it means that cannot be played games with. Every financial year, as we speak today, counties get 15% minimum. They get every financial year. It doesn't matter whether it's late, belated, struggling, but they receive that. So what we are saying is, you cannot eat your cake and have it in the same form. You cannot tell us that we need to fight COVID, but we cannot empower counties through a provision in the Constitution. But what I'm saying is, I know you want to go the aspect of perception, but let me tell you what.
Not even the perception issue, just what you've brought out in terms of BBI being this champion of devolution, and not very many Kenyans might not understand is what you're saying when you say that they'll struggle to give 5%, but they're promising that if you pass this document, we'll manage 35%?
They are not struggling. There is hesitation.
We have governors who are saying that the money is coming late. They are having problems.
That's the point. That's the point.
So how does that change with
But that is the point. You'd rather have the money coming late and sufficient money rather than have the same money coming late but insufficient. Is that not what you're saying? We are saying you'd rather have that 5% belatedly, but it's not 15%, because the moment we provide in the Constitution that 35% is going to go to counties, and it's not coming from nowhere. The economy does not have to grow an inch for counties to receive 35%, because 35%, and I gave you an example the other day, the 50 billion over and above what counties would have received, that Kiambu now is going to get an extra 2 billion from, did not come from an economy that has grown. It came from parastatals that exist. Money was taken from there. It came from what the national government is allowed to do through provision in the constitution on unconditional and conditional grants. Money was given to counties without conditions, without unconditionally as equitable share, and they do whatever they want to do with the money. The money is there, Jeff. What we are saying is, let people stop assuming that you can have better healthcare, you can have better agriculture in terms of food security without ensuring devolution works. Devolution is strengthened. You cannot talk about weakening devolution or keeping it where it is, and then you tell us the national government. How come the buck stops only with the president when things are not working very well? How come doctors are complaining in county facilities, nurses are complaining in county facilities, you want the buck to stop with the president, yet this is a devolved function. You are told by the same government and the same individuals who are supporting BBI, this is not our function. Let us give the money to the requisite level of government so that they can be able to do this, but you are saying no. There is contradiction left, right, and center. And I think the problem with the promoters of BBI and everyone, they are not communicating in a language that people understand. Someone told me that cats cannot fly, but they still eat birds because birds have a way of dropping where the cat is. BBI is a very good thing, but those selling it are literally the birds that are falling next to the cat and allowing it to eat them. They should just have to solve this thing in a proper way so that people out there can understand what's going on. They can understand the connection between the Big Four agenda and BBI.
Madam Elachi, let me come to you. Let's keep this very simple even as we move it along, because some people just try to understand. Okay, fine. Let's assume this will help devolution. Let's assume that this is what the MCAs needed. But even as every rally, the Kenyans are told, go and read it and interrogate this document, there's a plain question of there's no document to read, yet we're giving these grants.
Exactly. No, forget about the grants. It is,
there's money for that, but there's no money
I
to
want
print.
to repeat. This grant is not a bribe or a crime. It is money that you already gave your MCAs. They already have the cars. You will not see anyone buying a new car at being given money. I've said it is just the same money that was given in Parliament was given to the MCAs. The only thing that will happen, the remaining period that they have, you'll have to stop because you gave them in a form of loan. Period.
Okay.
And anyway, there are some who default. So do we come out and say everything? No, so let's not play it as if it's something. You need to go into the assembly and understand from the time we started 2013 devolution, what has been happening, what is there. That is when you'll understand how the president and the prime minister picked on this. But now let us go to this other
document
issue.
That's missing?
Well, all I'll say, it's not that the document is missing. I will want to urge, and I just want to urge, because I went to Hurlingham yesterday, and one young man, I want to say it's rich up, just told me, please give us the document. That during Kibaki's time, the Constitution, people, I still have my copy. Now, I want to tell my government, Kenyans love having, even if they won't read, they just want to say, even me, I have that copy. Some will read, some won't, but they like keeping it as a souvenir that indeed, when I woke up to pass this, I had this document, I read it, and I know what they want the document. Kindly, can we just go door to door, give this document, because it's a summary, and people will read. People will be able to understand. People will now come out based on, I can see these are gains of my county. Because the other thing I want us to really appreciate, while you come and you say, Linda Katiba, I don't know what. Remember, we've gone regional, yeah? We are so regional that everyone looks at what benefits my people. What are the interests of my people in this document? And that is why you have to be very keen. I can be in Nairobi. In Nairobi, we have to pass BBI. We cannot continue having 150,000 registered voters in one constituency, and I have a brother or a colleague in Parliament who has only 30,000 or 10,000 or 15, and we are about to now share the cake to take our children to school? No, it means I am supposed to give 2,000 bursary. He is able to give 100,000 scholarship to a university even abroad. With the same money, all of us are being taxed. and all of us pay. So can we come back to that equality of saying we can share the small cake we have, but we can agree that Nairobi has the highest, and we are the ones who, again, take back the taxes. Pick the taxes and take it back to where and so let's agree. It's not something we are just going to play around. This is a very political process where now people, there are even some people, and it's important to understand, Jeff, that today I sat in a conversation where people were saying, we want to know, this loan you're telling us, how many industries do we have in our place? Now, if we go that route, it's a very dangerous route. That is why you have to sort out that problem. Sort out. Let 35% go to the counties, and don't tell us members of parliament will pass. Not the way they played on Senate. I mean, you find somebody is talking and you realize Senate went 10 times to the law you're telling us we can pass it in parliament. No, can we just put it in the constitution? That is what has held the president accountable. 15% plus is what has held him accountable. If it was not there, you would not have held him accountable to ensure. So we must agree. For those who are saying nay, tell Kenyans, what is this that has been left? Tell us the bad side. But don't come and tell us, oh, the MCAs are being given grant. You have not helped a Kenyan. Tell us, in BBI, this is wrong. We don't want it. In BBI, they forgot this. Yes. And then I'll come and say, in BBI, we have this and this. So we have a debate where Kenyans can know, why is BBI wrong? But don't bring it a BBI of 2022. No. You're also distorting us. Leave 2022 aside. Let us deal with the governance that brought us a people's president, an nullification president. Let us deal with that governance first.
Okay, let me bring Justice in on this one as well, because I believe from his sentiments so far, he does have a bit of reservations as far as the BBI document is concerned. And of course, also this week, we saw the first formal opposition to this particular process and document in the Linda Katiba initiative. What's your take on that as well, even as this process moves forward, Bwana Justice? Will they be able to justify and have the legs to have a formal opposition to the document, seeing that the threshold to pass this is pretty low when it gets to a referendum? Does this opposition prove what Kenyans need for those who feel, like yourself, are reserved to this BBI?
Thank you. I would wish to first respond to what Mheshimiwa Beatrice has been saying about the car grants. She seemed to be discussing more of administrative issues and suggesting that the MCAs will stop payment from where once these car grants is availed through SRC. But I wish to remind us that those are purely administrative issues. Once there is this message to the public that MCAs have been given the car grants, it will pollute the BBI environment so badly. So if she is in touch with the people selling the BBI, you cannot explain to a common man those administrative issues and the details. Once the word 2 million has been availed to an MCA, it will pollute the environment. Secondly, ideally, the BBI and the 2020 Constitutional Amendment Bill is a brilliant idea. But there are the details, Chief, that people are not availing to us as citizens of this country. Remember, even if you were to entrench the 35% rule, there is something else that will happen. It is called costing. Once these people cost the 35 vis-a-vis the 65% that will remain in national government, definitely they will need to devote more functions to follow the resources. That is something people are not discussing, but the 35% is not just saying 35% for the 10 functions. They seem to be quiet behind the door. If you talk to some experts, they're saying once this document passes and the 35% threshold is anchored in law, there is a likelihood that the costing will be done and more functions will be devolved to county government to follow the resources. And that is a fact of life, because if you were to do mathematics and say we have devolved 35% and the national government remains with 65% and they need to pay the police, the JSH, the maths will not add up. And I don't know whether Anybody has done the costing. Today, if you were to ask Madam Beatrice and my friend in studio that who has done the costing of the vis-a-vis that 5% to the counties and 65% remaining the national government, which experts have discussed and say, we believe this is attainable. We believe this is viable. Because these are just political statements. 35% is a political objective. 65% remaining at the national government is a political objective. What about the experts? What about the economists? What are they saying about this? I would wish to listen to somebody explaining how that is viable, because that is a very serious conversation. Remember, Chair, we as a country, if we are not careful, and I did mention this last week, we could be heading the Greece way. Kenya is increasingly becoming an administrative state. Kenya is increasingly dividing itself into small administrative units. I've had people suggesting that we have 48 governments. We do not have 48 governments. We have got one government and 47 administrative units. You know, the so-called county governments are not a typical county government. These are purely administrative units. And that is why the so-called county government every month must go with a begging bowl to the treasury to beg for money to be released to the counties.
Okay, Justice, I want to jump in right there, Justice. Justice, just quickly, yes. I need a rejoinder from Charles as well. We have 5 minutes on this, so very quickly, because there's some issues you've addressed that he had spoken about earlier that I think he wants to clarify or give.
Jeff, I think when we appear on national television, it's important we become a little serious. Because when you say we don't have county governments and they don't have functions, you're telling Kenyans to always go to State House to ask for services, even devolved services. And I think that is grossly wrong. Article 203 of the Constitution is very clear that 15% of resources, national revenue, is supposed to go to counties. And the national government, in the same Constitution, is given an opportunity to support counties through conditional and unconditional grants. And that is, there is the problem. Because you give counties 15%, but you retain funds that are meant for county functions under the 4th schedule of the Constitution so that you can play games. If you go to Western, Mumias, you go bribe people there and tell them, I know sugarcane is not doing very well. Can I give you 5 billion, you do your thing? Do you like me very much now that I have done these things for you? Thank you very much. You go to Mount Kenya region, coffee, I know you're complaining about coffee and tea. Here is $1 billion shillings. You go to Meru, you give them $1 billion for Mira. Those are the things, the proponents of this thing are saying we need to end that. We need all the funds that should go to county based on the 4th schedule of the Constitution. And whatever is talking about the calculation, there is no single function that is going to be added to counties. The money has always been there but retained by the national government. The money is going to serve the very functions that are provided for in the 4th schedule of the Constitution, and that is not being amended by the Bill 2020 of BBI. So it is more money for the same function, and it is deserved money. That is why counties have not been performing well, because they have functions. All of them are there, they're provided for in the Constitution, and those are 47 county governments, by the way, with functions, yet the money they are given is not requisite to the functions that they've been given. So basically what the promoters of BBI are saying, give money that is due to counties for the functions that are there, because the Constitution says functions are followed by the money. Let us not confuse Kenyans further. Okay. By way of, on national television especially, it is not fair. It's not reasonable.
Madam Elachi, he's also alluded to the fact that the problem with the structure that we have right now is the fact that we have these 47 county governments who every single financial year will still have to go to Treasury and beg for funds that will come late. And it's the same cycle of events right there. So these are not county governments, they're just administrative centers that will come to Treasury in Nairobi to get their money.
No. But the same Constitution, it's only that we always forget to adhere to the same Constitution. We had agreed in the Constitution, and when we started in 2013, that in 5 years, each county should tell us what have they done with the local revenues that were left. But you see, we've closed that thing in the last 10 years, and we've decided just to cool it off, and that is how we have a lot of leakage of wastage of our money, because we have never thought of going back to the counties. Remember, these counties were the municipalities that we used to have. They never used to be paid by the local governments. They used to pay themselves everything, the salaries of everyone. But where is that money? Because that money doesn't come to the president who rules the kitty. That money remained with the governors. No Kenyan, even all of us, have gone and started telling governors to account. Yet we added them streams that are good streams of collecting revenue. but nobody has questioned. And therefore, we've left people, their work is just to, if you do a calculation of today, those who started counting 2013 and who have gone 10 years, you'll be surprised how they have moved in their lives and the incentives that they have. Why? We left a lot of leakage. This is one thing that we need to address. And I wish they would be pointing out that where is a system that says, now we shall be collecting revenue for county governments. You have just one system, cannot be KRA. They can decide which they want, can collect for them their resources, put in their account, but you are able now to give also your statistics and say, and I remember, you remember former Governor Kabogo did very well in Kiambu, increased their revenue. At one point, it just went well. Kidero the same. Then what happened? You cannot tell me you've been able in the first to collect roughly 14 billion, for example, Nairobi, and then you just go, yet things are moving? No, it's because we've decided to just steal. So the issue here in Kenya, let us first thank God. I know Sir Justice said it is ungodly. Let us thank God. He has blessed a country called Kenya with resources that Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, what we talk about $1 trillion in our budgets. Yet KRA is able to collect 1.7 or 1.3 trillion from Kenyans. But then we come and misuse our own resources. This is something, not about the president now. Everyone working in government, seated somewhere saying, mimi ni wa pension. Mali ya umma has to stop. This is a country where we must come out of issues and work the way the world is working today. If you're at a senior most level, then you go into a contract. Government has to come out of that. That is where people don't care about mali ya umma. The moment we start caring, Kenya is a country where no one can question. Even God wonders why we complain. He has given us everything. We have misused everything. We must agree that it is an attitude, a culture we need to come out.
Okay, I think we'll have to draw the curtains on this conversation at that particular point. Really got heated as we got to the end of this particular discussion. Charles Munyui, thank you so much for your time this morning. Producer Elachi, thank you so much for making time to be on the show today as always. And of course, Justice Maina, who threw a real spanner in the works this morning. Asante sana for being on the show. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And of course, your views still coming in at I am Jeff Mote on Twitter and at K24 TV. Keep them coming in, of course, as that conversation goes online. We take a short break. We are back on the other side as we get interactive. Don't go too far.